Hello, YouTube coin collectors and stackers. Today I'm very excited to discuss some coins that I recently learned about. I stumbled across them when I was buying a coin collection last week. I'll post a link to that video down below where I share all the other goodies I found along with these. It was a rather sizable collection. And I hadn't heard of these coins before. I mean, I'd heard of Australian coins. Of course, in today's world, we're collecting, if we're stackers, maybe we're getting kangaroos or kookaburras on the more premium end, or koalas from Australia. But these guys were very interesting. Of course, their metal orientation, which always messes me up. But if we look at these coins clearly, and here's a florin, if you look right between the 9 and the 4, you'll see an S mint mark there. So what's going on with that? Is there an S mint mark from a mint in Australia? Well, it turns out this coin was minted in San Francisco, along with this shilling, along with this sixpence. This sixpence was minted in Denver, and these threepence up above were minted in either San Francisco or Denver. So why was the U.S. Mint minting Australian coins during World War II? And in this case, this is a 1943. So what's going on with these coins? So it turns out that following the ouster of General Douglas MacArthur and his U.S. forces from the Philippines, they were swept out by the Japanese in March 1942, the United States shifted its base of operations for the Pacific Campaign to, of all places, Australia. And U.S. directed all of its military operations out of Australia till the end of the war in 1945. During that time, there were 1 million U.S. military personnel based in Australia. Australia, being a very small country at the time, only had about 7-8 million people. So believe it or not, the U.S. military presence in Australia accounted for 1 in every 8 people in Australia at that time. The effect of having such a large group of people move into the area was that it put a major strain on circulating coinage. The nation was already facing a shortage of coins due to a lack of raw materials and the fact that they had changed their manufacturing processes around to support the war effort. Remember, here in the United States, we were doing the same thing. In 43, we had a steel penny, we had the war nickels. So Australia was dealing and grappling with much of the same thing, trying to conserve strategic resources. So these military personnel that were based there were paid in cash, which made it even tougher on the coinage that was in circulation. So the Australian Mint in Melbourne simply couldn't keep up with the demand for all of these coins. So the U.S. decided to put San Francisco and Denver to work, and they agreed to strike these Australian silver coins that you see here. Unlike the 90% silver coins that we were striking in the U.S. at that time, these Australian coins are 92.5% silver. As we know in the stacking community, that's sterling silver. So between 1942 and 44, both the San Francisco and Denver mints produced silver threepence. Those are these little guys right here. Sixpence, which are the slightly bigger ones here, while San Francisco also produced a shilling and the florin. As with all the Australian coins at that time, the obverse features, the metal orientation always messes me up on these, features our good friend King George VI. And then he also appeared, of course, on all of the other British coins. As we see today, Charles is appearing on the coins that are coming out of, say, Australia or Canada or, of course, Britain. So that tradition continues. That's, goes back quite a long way in history. So those are the coins themselves there. So let's start with the threepence. This is a pretty little coin. I'm going to get it up to the camera here so you can see it. That's the reverse of it. So during World War II, Australia had the same monetary system as the British. You had the pound. The pound divided into 20 shillings. So 20 of these guys right here was a pound. Each shilling was 12 pennies. And pennies and half pennies were struck in bronze. But the smallest silver coin was this guy right here, a threepence. And it was 16 millimeters, or it is 16 millimeters, which is slightly smaller than a U.S. dime. So if I were to take a dime here and put it next to it, you can see that the dime is a fair bit bigger than this threepence. So this silver threepence was minted in San Francisco, and we can see that if we zoom in here. You'll see the S right under the 3, between the 3 and the E in pence. And they were minted in San Francisco from 42 to 44, and in Denver in 42 and 43. The back of the coin, the reverse here, as you'll see, all these coins are designed by the same gentleman, George Kruger Gray, who also designed coins for Britain, Canada, New Zealand, and South Africa. What we see on the reverse of this coin are 3 stalks of wheat held together by a ribbon to signify the importance of agriculture for the Australian economy. As we move up from the 3 pence, we go to the 6 pence. And here is a 6 pence. Let me see if I can get it there so you can see it. So your 6 pence was 6 pennies. Kind of goes like 3 pence is 3 pennies. 6 pence is 6 pennies. This one here was also minted in San Francisco, as you can see on the S. Actually, the shield in the middle there points right to the S, which is between the 9 and the 4 in 1942. The back of this coin was designed by William H. Blakemore, who was an engraver at the Mint in London. So what this design shows is the 1908 Australian coat of arms that was first used on the 6 pence in 1910. And it was the first year, 1910 was the first year Australia actually had its own coinage. Features the Australian coat of arms in the middle there, which is the shield, the coat of arms, which is a shield supported by a kangaroo and an emu, which, as we know, are native to Australia. And it also depicts the Cross of St. George, which is the flag of England, topped by that 7-point star up there to symbolize the Commonwealth of Australia. And there's our good friend George VI again, as he appears on all of the obverses of these coins. Let me put him back in here. And I have another one there, so that's San Francisco. Let's look at a 6 pence from Denver. Again, it's the same exact coin, except you're going to see there the D instead of the S. Everything else is, of course, the same. Moving on from there, we're going to go to the next largest coin, which is the shilling. And the shilling, I think, is a pretty cool coin. So we have this ram in the middle. The shilling itself is valued at 1/20th of a pound. It's slightly smaller than a U.S. silver quarter. Again, it's unlike a silver quarter, which is 90% silver. This is sterling silver. And these were just minted in San Francisco. Let's see if I can get close enough there. You can see the S right above the N in shilling, below the ram's head. As with the silver 3 pence, the reverse of this coin was also designed by George Kruger Gray. Shows this ram's head here facing 3/4 to the left. And this is to symbolize the importance of farming to the Australian economy. We have on either side of the ram the Federation stars to represent the Federation of Australia, which is the 6 British colonies of Australia uniting to form the Commonwealth of Australia. Last but certainly not least is the silver florin. The florin, again, this metal orientation really messes me up. Let me get this. God, I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. There we go. So the florin was the largest silver coin struck in Australia during World War II. It had a value of 2 shillings, or 2 of these rams, or 1/10 of a pound. And these were only made in San Francisco, and you can see the S there. Again, the point in the shield points right to it, between the 9 and the 4 in 1943. This reverse was also designed by George Kruger Gray, who designed 3 of the 4 coins we're looking at today. And this coat of arms was essentially authorized in 1912 in Australia. So you have the central shield supported by the kangaroo and the emu again. And the shield itself is divided up into 6 different pieces, you can see there. Each one of those different little squares represents a different state in the Commonwealth of Australia. So you have Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia, Western Australia, and Tasmania. And then on either side of the emu and the kangaroo, we see these branches. And those are branches of wattle, which is the national floral emblem of Australia. So I thought this was super cool. I really hadn't seen these coins before. And of course, I was well aware that the U.S., of course, was minting coins for the Philippines. They minted coins for Panama and all kinds of countries in Central America and other places. But to discover these guys made for Australia at the U.S. mints was very exciting. So I'm debating whether these go into, say, a U.S. coin typeset, since they were made by the mints in Denver and San Francisco, or do they remain outside that typeset? In any case, I think they're super cool. Super cool to have this piece of history here from World War II. Love to hear what you guys think in the comments below. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. Really helps the channel. And as always, thanks for listening and watching, and happy collecting.